Hi guys, this is Breaker SC2 back, and I am on the verge of unveiling some new news, but first and foremost, let's go ahead and get the player introductions for both of our players right now in the upper left-hand corners on... upper left-hand corner on Shakuras Plateau. We do have TheWalrus, and I've casted one of his replays recently, but I feel like the quality was less than ample on it. Of course, I was testing out my new audio hardware. That would be the AT 2020 that I'm using right now. And in the lower right hand corner, spawning as our Saga Team Terran, his name is Entropy. He says, I am the Eggman, and he says, I am the Walrus. I like the mind games, or not really mind games that are going back and forth, but I guess you could say the hype games going on between both of our players right now. And where was I? Yes, I was about to go ahead and just say I have some pretty big projects we're going to announce in the near future. We're talking maybe less than 24 hours from now, but right now a part of this project is actually just making sure that my microphone is working correctly, and this has something to do with the Taiwan region specifically. So I'm hoping that everyone is going to enjoy what I have to announce. And beyond that, I mean, whatever else there is to say in story, there's... how do I put this? There's always something that I want to throw out there, but I just can't. You know, I have to leave you guys with a teaser right now, but believe me when I say it's going to be announced within the next 24 to 48 hours. Anywho, game is shaping up. Both players went for Refinery first. This typically leads to 1-1-1 style play in Heart of the Swarm. And this can lead to, essentially, Banshees, Banshees factories. At the ultra-high level of TVT, it can lead to anything, basically. It could lead to Marines and Widow Mine drops following up with a Banshee, or a Banshee leading in first and then clearing the path for a, what's the word I'm looking for, a Widow Mine drop with some Marines, Hellions, whatever have you. The thing is, the neat thing about TVT is that in the early game, you're going to be harassing using mostly minerals if you're going to go for a medevac drop. Of course, the factory itself is going to cost some gas, yes, but Hellions cost minerals. Marines cost minerals. Things like that. So we already see the game taking a little bit of shape for both sides. We know it's going to be a game of harass for at least the first 5 or so minutes. I don't want to harp on Walrus too much for uploading this, but I mean, he said it was a 39-minute long TVT, so I mean, that kind of gives me some spoilers as to when the game actually ends, and that's not, you know, what I'd like to know as a caster. Say, you know, this is a really good TVT, something like that. At any rate, I really hope that my audio hardware is not cutting out. I've been using a condenser microphone lately, but I've used it very seldom. Been thinking of getting into podcasts lately. No, that's not part of the big announcement that I have to make, but definitely, I do want to just say this is pretty big, and it's something that I've been working for a long, 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 long time. Marines are on the way, and it's going to be a tech lab coming out from the factory, so I'm leaning towards saying, more than anything else, that it's going to be a Banshee first coming out of the Walrus. And it's the same coming from Entropy, but at home, he has nothing to defend with. Both players are going at this more or less blind, but Walrus is going to play it safe and smart and send out an SCV first from the start. Flight depots everywhere for both sides. This is something that I really like. They're just being as careful as they can. Sorry, it looks like my initial presumption of a Banshee may have been erroneous. These Marines could just be in, you know, they could just be out here for defense, but there is a Raven in production for both sides. Indeed. You'll have to forgive me, I don't play Terran, guys. That's the one flaw that Breaker has. I play Zerg at a diamond level on the Taiwan and Korea server, but yeah, I don't actually play Terran. So both players getting a defensive Raven out, and neither side going for a Banshee or a medevac just yet. That's a lot of Marines coming from the Walrus. Okay, so double gas taken from both sides already, and this is shaping up to be a very normal TVT. A little bit undersaturated there in the main from the Walrus. I wonder if he cut SCV production on purpose now. He just realizes it now. And Entropy is actually, he's kind of gotten a head start here on his natural, if you will. I mean, yes, he's throwing it down right now, but I don't mean in that regards. The fact of the matter is he's oversaturated in his main, and that means he's ready to pull more workers to the natural when it's done. But he is indeed getting that command center before his Red Terran opponent. I've been rusty at casting for a little while, guys, so I mean, I gotta really get back into it. If you guys check this YouTube channel, you'll see that I have over 400 VODs. Some of them are blog-ish, some of them are, you know, full-blown StarCraft related all the way across the board, but at the same time, I do want to say that it's been a long, long time since I've uploaded mass VODs. I remember being so passionate in the beginning about casting. But I mean, the thing is, this is a spoiled industry, and time and again you see the least qualified applicant get the job, or someone who worked half as hard as you did, or someone who just switched from being a pro gamer. Don't get me wrong, guys, I don't have anything wrong with In Control. I don't have anything wrong with QXC. But the thing is, I just see so many of these guys who I feel like didn't put quite as much effort into casting as myself, and then they get the job at the end of the day. So that ends blog mode. We're at the 8-minute mark, and of course first blood was spilt by Walrus. He took down Entropy's Marine there. Are they gonna get the pick off on that Raven? No, both players kind of taking it a little bit idle right now. Wait, whoa, what's going on back at home here? He had to see that. What's he doing with the medevacs? He's just gonna let Entropy go straight into his main. There's a couple of turrets that are gonna be dropped here, and they're gonna be dropped closer to the mineral line. Entropy is just gonna go ham on that mineral line. All the workers getting pulled off the line. Looks like he's going to get a refinery or two for his time, but he's going for a delay drop. That is to say, Walrus is, at the moment, supply depot is going to drop here. That's going to supply block Walrus, which means he can't get anything out to defend at the moment. And now, here it is. The raid, and this is accomplishing even more workers getting killed, pulling SCVs towards those tanks before they're even sieged up. Boom, slam, another wham at that mineral line. SCVs getting pulled off the line yet again, and this is hurting Entropy so much more than it is hurting the Walrus. But the main was just taken down. Oh my god, what happens here? Okay, well, he's got economy going. That is to say, the Walrus. That's the edge. That's the advantage that he has over Entropy right now, and if he uses these Vikings correctly, he can actually, effectively speaking, ground this entire army that's trying to cut him off. Meanwhile, buildings are lifting to a different location coming from Entropy. Turret's going to continue to work away at those supply depots. The starport not getting lifted off, I feel like, is a huge flaw, misstep, and even a delay in tech for our Blue Terran, and now this is definitely a game worth casting. Alright, so I think this is definitely where we want to see the Walrus start lifting up his tech. Good, he saves his starport, which is a huge difference between him and Entropy right now. But again, there's no economy here for Entropy whatsoever, while he is just going to continue hammering away at all the structures that are at this particular location. Vikings caught onto this base, and the medevacs are now spotting this. Okay, so what's the SCV doing here? Well, the tanks, they're taking down all those SCVs, but the turret's doing so much more damage. Look at this. This is the more important part of the game for our Red Terran. Both players kind of worn down to one base economy if you stop and think about it for a minute, but those SCVs getting pulled off the line and getting dragged down to the lower left. But there's two Vikings waiting for them in position. Entropy's probably going to land both of these structures over here and get them hammering out some units. That's definitely what he needs to do at this stage if he wants to win the game. SCV's going to the natural? Where on earth is the barracks? He didn't turn this natural into an orbital command, but the Walrus has a plan. Look at this. He's going to go ahead and make some Banshees out of that, and there's very little in the way of anti-air here. That's some long-distance mining coming out from Entropy at the moment, and it's quite confusing as to why he chooses to do this, but those SCVs are now kind of getting, I wouldn't say sacked here, but he's got to lift off this. He has to lift this off. He has to. There's only 4 Marines here. Yes, there's a single Viking, but it does less damage. And it looks like now we're going to have Entropy save this location and call it his own. But the Walrus is going to have to rebuild a base if he wants to put himself back in this game. There are some scans left in this game for our Blue Terran. In fact, there's a full orbital command worth there and half of an orbital command. That's 6 scans that he's got altogether, but I imagine he's gonna go extremely greedy and drop it all on mules. Look, there it is. Even before it happens, he does what he has to with that natural orbital command. This one didn't drop mules because, of course, it's lifted at the moment, but I imagine that it might drop more once it is, that's what I'm looking for. Once it's out. But Cloak, about 20 seconds away now that that Banshee is done, and single Marine's going to just pepper away at that supply depot. Bear in mind that the only anti-air at the disposal of Walrus right now, or excuse me, Entropy right now, is actually going to be Marines. He's got 7 of them. With Cloak, we can see that Banshee do a lot of damage. It's just gonna maybe... I would target down the mules in this position. They're just so precious. I always do that with Zerglings, but there's a scan on top of that one Banshee. It will get away, but is there another scan? In 8 seconds there will be on that particular base. This one does have a scan available. And... time being, Walrus saves that command center. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, and the Marine's gonna go haywire on this base. I believe, I can't say for sure, but I think it might have been the one that was at the natural. And look at this guy, he's a hero. He's already got 2 kills. He's probably gonna get away with 4. Oh, guess not. Crazy already, but the command center getting shut down, and second Banshee arrives to the party. It's gonna maybe target down some tanks, but there's already a Raven here. Every SCV counts at this point in the game. And look in the upper right to get an idea of just what the economy is like. We're going into low econ right now. The Raven still alive from the beginning of the game, the get-go. And now there's almost no anti-air here. Marines are... oh boy. Wow. SCV is getting pulled now. And there's no way you can lift this orbital command, at least not safely at the moment. This one, however, is a different story. Question is, what do we see Entropy do in this particular situation? It's gonna go down here and attack this base. That makes some sense. I mean, I can see the logic in that. He's thinking that this is his opponent's only economy. You have to bear in mind that we have caster vision. He knows about this one. But he's going to go ahead and camp a Viking out there, as he should. Just keep any Banshees from coming out of it. Mule's getting dropped on this one orbital command that is praying for its life. For its dear life to get away. And the same for that other command center at this particular location. There is no barracks right now, which is why we actually don't have the Walrus with any orbital commands. This puts his opponent at a severe economic advantage while all this chaos is ensuing. Alright, SCV is just going to surround that supply depot, this other one as well. Supply blocks count. And a single Marine versus a Viking. Well, we know we know who wins that fight as long as the Viking doesn't drop, right? And Walrus moving that base back into the main. Not criticizing him, but I just think it's a little bit weird. He knows what's there. So if it didn't work before, try again, right? Okay. So when this game resumes its normal pace, it's gonna be hard to say. Wait a minute, this looks like the Intel logo just a little bit, but there's a single auto turret here. Tanks are going to come in and clean that up, and both players resuming with extremely low economy yet again. But again, the power of the mule here will be stretched by Entropy. 4 of them get dropped. I don't know if that's a safe idea because, yeah, there's some detection here, but that missile turret, that one right there is way out of range. But 14 kills on that Banshee, a sergeant already. If you guys think my TVT casting is awful, well, I mean, it just is. But look at it this way. In the Taiwan Esports League, there's only ZVZ. If you are casting StarCraft in Taiwan, you are accepting that there's only ZVZ. China, it's not too terribly much different. There's Loner, and then there's another Terran by the name of XY. Alright, going back to 6 o'clock position. Maybe just clear off the towers, who knows, but this upper right-hand base is now turned into a planetary. And Entropy has to be careful here. He has to know. Yeah, okay, he saves 1 Marine, but that's about it. That's not going to suffice for anti-air here. The Banshees coming in, taking out these tanks will be more than enough to deal with the situation effectively. And there's no escaping for them once they are caught and spotted. It's interesting to note that Walrus has no clue that his opponent actually has that second orbital command at this particular location. In fact, it may be completely beyond his knowledge at the moment that it's even in the game. Tank's gone. Boom. Entropy now at, I wouldn't say a completely staggering disadvantage, but it's definitely transparent right now. His army supply, at least. However, he does have a tech advantage, if I'm not mistaken. We don't have... Do we have a barracks anywhere out on the map? We do not. Right there being a starport. All of these jimmies being rustled by a simple starport. But there's no saving this orbital command whatsoever. I mean, yeah, you can drop a mule on it, but in its present state, it is dead weight. This one getting picked off, ouch, not even canceled. That's probably the worst part about it, but SCV is going to hop inside of that command center, and Walrus is just going to pull it out of there. What, like, something about this reminds me of a game that you would see on the Korean server, but that's 3 bases he has right now. The opponent's 1 base that's fully mining. And I'd say the mineral income, it goes without saying. We have Entropy at a staggering advantage in that regards. He's got mules. That's the most important part. Now that he's got the time, it looks like we're going to have Entropy go out, or rather, Walrus go out and clear away some supply depots. Supply block his opponent even further. This is painful, the position that he's in. I'd say that maybe in game time, the total supply blockage time has already surpassed 3 minutes for one side, if not both. Widow Mines, definitely a good defensive situation for any Terran player who is facing many Banshees. But at the same time, there's a Raven in the mix, so we have to see Walrus be very, very, very careful. Missile turret, kind of phasing out those Banshees for the time being. And that's it. One Widow Mine gonna burrow right here, but I don't think it can attack commands. I like this crafty use of tools in a low econ situation. And the game continues as it is. Alright, so it looks like we're going to have Entropy going forward with a bio composition of some sort, but I mean, some sort. But I mean, the fact of the matter is he doesn't have that tech lab on any of these barracks just yet, which means he doesn't have STEM, but it's alright because the TVT matchup, that's typically when you see STEM research the latest. But again, Walrus doing whatever he can to salt his opponent's wounds. The Spitfire turrets, or rather, Spitfires. Ouch, the Raven got dropped and all of that. That's a huge misstep by Walrus. But, I mean, the auto turrets here, like, that's free damage being done. And now that Widow Mine, wait, he can't do that. Oh, okay, he can do this. I like that. Alright, Marine's gonna come in and deal with these auto turrets. I mean, basically, Marine walks into the bar and there is no counter. I couldn't help it. But again, Entropy's the guy who's got the orbital commands, and by now Walrus has basically he's made it known to himself that he can't just go in there and fight his opponent using Banshees the entire game, because his anti-air is now fairly high, sufficiently high. Let's put it that. Let's put it that way. The 6 o'clock position base has not been caught on to, and I feel like this is definitely one of those games that is not standard. We don't have a single orbital command just yet. We've got this one base that has the potential to be turned into an orbital command. But at the same time, how do I put this? It's not there yet. It will be eventually. Let's put it that way. Mech, it will be from the Walrus. And now I feel like I don't know, I feel like maybe if Entropy makes a big mistake here moving out, he's gonna be in a lot of hurt. Have to give it a moment to see where things go. Yeah, okay, he's hitting it just the right moment. And I feel like maybe he can break in and kill his opponent right here, but he has to take down that natural overall command. There's no getting around that. There's no denying that whatsoever. In the background, there is a Raven in production for Entropy, which means he wants to get something out that will allow him to detect those Banshees. The natural is now under attack. The question is, what do we see the Walrus do to defend? Viking getting repaired in the sky. He wants to go in there and take down whatever he can. Full HP. There's nothing. How do I say this? There's only a single Viking here to spot for everything that's here. 2 versus 1. The angle is good, and they get that, which means the spotting is gone essentially. But I mean, at this point, do you really need it? Is the question. The Viking was just there to spot for hitting the SCVs, which is why they were off the line for a while. Scan going down on top of all this. And 2 Banshees, I don't know, I feel like we're going to have to see maybe some auto turrets come in here. But, Entropy sending that one little contingent out at that particular location. Not sure if it was such a great idea. Widowmine wasted just now at this moment. And now the Banshees are able to clean up all of those Marines. If Entropy continues to fight like this, it's just not going to end well. And I feel like, yeah, he knows something's wrong. He knows something's wrong, but this is the one and only thing that I hate about Shakuras Plateau, right here. The 6 o'clock, the 12 o'clock. Yes, he knows about the starport. That should be easy enough to have guessed, but I mean, well, yeah, proxy tech. Banshees are still on the map. It should have been easy enough to guess. Let's put it that way. But the 6 o'clock position base, if you're playing versus a Terran, all you have to do, I mean, like, I see this all the time in some games. You can make your opponent, if he's Zerg, think... Ooh, nice drop in the background. Nice SCV roasting there. That's... Ouch. A lot of workers killed. That's 40 total to the point of this game. But what I wanted to point out about that base is, at the 6 o'clock position, I've seen games where a Terran tries to trick a 2-base or 3 base Zerg into thinking that he's trying to 2-base all in, when in reality a delayed attack comes, and then he follows it up with... this base, if that makes sense. And then 3-base economy, GG, basically. When Zerg fails to actually take that Terran down. Guys, keep your overlords there at all costs, always. All this stuff just got cleared up, and... Entropy, yeah, he's kind of surpassing his opponent's army supply, yes, but it's just that every assault is failing, because it's Marines and it's tanks. There's nothing wrong with that. But those Marines don't have stim just yet. And I don't know if he's actually scouted the toe. Boy. He has not. That's you know, that moment. But at the same time, the Hellion drop should have basically told Entropy, great, he's going mech. I have to do something about this. He's going to need Marauders to deal with this effectively. He's going to need impressive use of drops, maybe a higher Viking count to win the game outright. But there we go. He's going to get rid of the Widow Mines. I like this move. It's better than nothing. Good. Coming here to camp this, I guess. Okay. Elevator trick. Elevator trick indeed. Okay. I like that. That's intuitive. It's creative. Aliens out on the map, just scouting to see if there's a 3rd base or not, and I think this is where Walrus is like, okay, I just have to hold on and I'll be alright. The Hellions just gonna barge in there, they'll blue flame and all. They're trying to get into that one tank there, but they can't quite yet. Marines coming to save it, and that was maybe not such a quite effective exchange, although they did get one tank, yes, that was great. But I really feel like the workers were a bigger story. I feel like I missed something big here. Let's go back and check that out. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to do that. But I really wanted to see what was happening here while all of this was happening here. It looks like there's a Widow Mine here. Getting spotted, that's about it. It did fire a shot at that one Raven, but that's it. Bark is a little bit worse than the bite sometimes, but learned something new there. I didn't know that previously a single Raven can survive a shot from a single Widow Mine. Little interesting facts like these can really, I guess you could say, improve your overall game knowledge, but the move is being made here by Entropy, and The Walrus is going to have to do something to defend against this. Look at the situation right now. He's got a starport. Yes, he's struggling to get that away. Yes. The tank count is just a little bit higher here for the Walrus, and he can't really safely drop on top of this due to the high Marine count. Conversely, the Marines can't really get within shooting range to defend against those Banshees, and... oh my god, see, this is what I'm talking about. He can't do it because of the siege tanks over here. Oh boy. Nice PDD, but at the same time, the Banshees escaped the cloaking or the detection range there. And again, this is just something that Entropy has not seen yet. This is what's working against him so much at this particular moment. Beyond that, in the background, +1/+1 finished up for our meching Terran Walrus, while he's getting started on +2/+2 in the background. And adding on more factories. This is where, if you could just scan into the main right now, if you were Entropy, you would say, okay, yeah, he's meching, but he's also adding on infrastructure at this stage in the game. The big thing is, adding on those factories should be a big tell. But Entropy can't see it just yet, can he? He might be able to see this, and he might be wondering to himself, why is there another factory going down at 35 minutes into the game? Well, here we go. Tank's going to siege up at the front lines. The Marines weighing back here. Those Hellions, I don't know. If those tanks are taken down, even just one of them, then the Hellions could probably just rush in there, sack themselves, and do what they can to save that natural expansion. Maybe even just end the game outright. For the time being, Entropy is struggling to hold his ground here. He can't back down. The best defense is sometimes your only offense in some situations. And that philosophy certainly holds true in PvZ, and I believe in this case as well, TVT. He can't let his opponent move out. If he does, he knows something's wrong. He knows he's lost this game. He knows that he may have just spotted that third base a little bit too late, if he has spotted it at all. Right now he's confused, he's dazed, and it just didn't occur to him that, you know, that third base could have been taken at the 6 o'clock position. Yes, he's doing some harass job here. Yes, it's wonderful. It's doing a lot, but at the same time, it's not making all that great of a difference. Looks like, by the way, I'd like to note that the 6 o'clock position base did not get turned into an orbital command. Here we go. Entropy, Entropy, Entropy. What are you doing? Banshee's kind of getting picked on just a little bit there. Oh man, but the Marines, the exchange in the Marines, I'm not sure if that's worth it or not. The tank, it does go down. 1 goes down. 2 goes down. The Marine stem and a move into that natural expansion. Can they or can they not take it down? No. They pick off the Banshee and run. But that was 3 tanks and a ton of Marines for a single, maybe double tank takeout. But here we go. Speaking of taking out, those Hellions just surrounding all the Marines and the tank and just roasting all of it alive. By now, Entropy must know something is wrong, and it's not something that he had expected. He hasn't spotted that base just yet. I feel like that's the scariest part of this game. He's moving his natural expansion now to, I guess you'd say, the 3rd. He did thoroughly trade bases with his opponent early game, and he just couldn't hold out in the end. I'm wondering, you know, was this a part of Walrus's plan all along? Come on. Not trying to criticize the guy by any means, but I think he played off of his opponent's mistakes in this. Again, I'm not Terran, but I mean, guys, if you're ever playing versus Terran, always check the 12 and 6. Let this be a lesson to you all. I don't care what level you are. Just always, always, always do it. That's 8 tanks right now from Walrus against the 4 of Entropy. And Entropy's economy right now, it's kind of drained. We've got Walrus at a steady 1900 per minute. Here we go. This is not looking like it's going to pan out. The tank's making their final stand. The medevac's gone. They have no vision, and now they're just getting absolutely decimated without returning fire. There's the GG coming from Entropy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I can show you guys my new casting setup. Let me see here. Oopsie, sorry about that. Let me get you guys my webcam, and now you can see just what I'm working with right here. As you can see, I do have a green screen behind me. I just need a better lighting source, and then we are cooking. Grade A, ready to go. Once again, guys, this is Yoey Flashwolves Breaker. I'll see you guys very soon with good news.